So it is Tuesday, September 25th. Got a couple projects going here in the shop, just personal projects. See if you can tell what's going on. See this mess over here. Basically, the exhaust on the van again is just blown up everywhere. I've got the gray van in here, the gray van again, and I've robbed a few exhaust pieces off of it. Our Syncro, the exhaust has just been on its last leg for a while, and I've got patches everywhere in it. In fact, I'll show you. There's a patch right there. That's all welded up. And every time I weld on this, there's some more welding. I mean, every time I weld on this, it's just so thin. The metal's just super thin. Anyways, earlier this summer, we were on a trip back from the Hummingbird Roundup, and we actually busted this pipe here. This is on, I believe it's on the passenger front #1 cylinder. Broke it here. Big old chunk out of it, had just a horrible exhaust leak, and I ended up, it's kind of hard to tell with this, but this is my repair. This is my front license plate, and I actually took that front license plate and I wrapped it around the pipe and then tightened down these hose clamps as best I could. It got it quiet enough to where we could get out of the campground. There's the actual brake. I didn't feel real comfortable about driving it all the way back home, which was another hour, so I actually trailered it home the rest of the way. But when I got home, it sat in the driveway for a couple weeks, and Stacy and the girls were going to a camp out and they wanted to take it. So I came down here, and off of the gray Vanagon over there, I actually cut this pipe off here. See, on a Syncro, see how the exhaust comes down here and then has this little curve and another curve. This curve here is so that the skid plate, basically, I'll show you here. I got the skid plate out on the ground. Basically, it sets something like that. So this skid plate, it's got these curves in the pipe for the skid plate, and then this curve here for the transaxle. So the two-wheel drive exhaust wouldn't work because the two-wheel drive comes around here and just goes straight across, and it would run into our skid plate. So I basically cut this piece off. I did a bunch of pie cuts on both sides to get the angles right, and then I just welded this chunk in. Now, I did that because an exhaust for this Syncro is somewhere in the neighborhood, probably the cheapest is around $1,100 or $1,200 for a full stainless kit. When I tried piecing out just all of the, just non-stainless regular exhaust, it came out to be almost the same amount of money. So the stainless is really about the cheapest way to go. I mean, some of these exhausts, Go Westy I think has them for around $1,100. Some companies have them listed as high as $1,800, and I just haven't been able to bring myself to drop $1,100 on exhaust on a motor that is, this motor's getting kind of tired. It's got 250,000 miles on it. I have wanted to go a different route with the engine, and so I just wasn't ready to drop $1,100 on exhaust if it was just going to be a temporary thing. I mean, a stainless exhaust should be an exhaust that lasts you a long time, but honestly, if I had my way, I probably wouldn't have a water boxer in the old Syncro here. It's too underpowered, especially when we're running the bigger tires. So anyways, fast forward to today. We've been limping it around all summer. We did a Montana trip a couple weeks ago. This exhaust worked fine. This is actually the rear pipe. It's probably in the best shape. It does have a really old repair right here that I did on it, but it's been holding good. The rest of it's actually pretty decent. The muffler, it's a little rough, but this is my latest kind of crack to develop. I saw this crack coming in right along here, and after I got the exhaust off, it just fell apart. But I've got a little trip planned this week, and so I wanted to get the exhaust kind of dialed in. And so I was on Go Westie's website and actually found this pipe here in their bargain basement. Now, there's a better shot at that exhaust and how it works. If you can envision the skid plate coming under here. Then you can see this curve here is for the transaxle. I mean, it all tucks really tight. And the Syncro actually comes way out on this bend, whereas the two-wheel drive comes down not quite. It doesn't come out quite as far. And then the two-wheel drive just does a straight shot. So this is Syncro. This is a Syncro-only pipe here. So what I've done basically is I got that pipe off of Go Westie's bargain basement for a little over $100. And then I pulled the rest of this exhaust off of the gray van over there, which it has a bad engine. And again, I'm not sure I'm going to go back with a water boxer in it. And so I'm kind of piecing some exhaust together here to get the Syncro back on the road for another couple months till I decide which direction we're going with the engine. Up in here, I don't know if you can see that brand new shiny water pump. I had this apart a while back, and a couple weeks ago, I noticed that the water pump was starting to grab a little bit, starting to go. And then as the last couple weeks have gone by, it's gotten a little bit louder, actually to where it would chirp almost. This pipe here isn't new, but it's off of that gray van. Everything on that gray van is so clean. I mean, the van's only got like 120,000 miles on it. And so I've been stealing some parts off of it to keep the Syncro going here. But that's what's going on today. I just pulled out the O2 sensor. The Syncro has a 3-wire, and the two-wheel drive over here, the gray van, has a single wire. And you can see the threads on this are just shot. There's no putting that back in. So luckily they've got a universal here in town. They're gonna run me over. I'm down to the wire. We are taking off tomorrow, and we're heading out to Descend on Bend in Bend, Oregon, and taking the Syncro, and in true Volkswear fashion, it's all last minute here, just kind of thrashing it together. I got most of my paint jobs out last week and ordered all the parts that I needed for this thing. In addition to this stuff that we're doing, I just got done doing both rear wheel bearings. They needed to be done. I've got a headlight relay kit for this thing. I've had a little trouble with the ignition switches getting hot and kind of burning down on me, and I'm hoping that the headlight relay kit, supposedly that I guess the headlights on these, they run a lot of power through the ignition switch, and that's hard on them. So I'm hoping that this relay kit not only will give me better lighting with the headlights, but also help those ignition switches last a little longer. Also popped for a new skid plate. I haven't had anything up under the front here since I removed the turtle shell. So that's about it. Just kind of trying to get this thing all dialed in and ready for a trip to Oregon. So maybe we'll take the cameras along and show you guys what Descend on Bend's all about. Wanted to go the last few years, but just never made it. Anyways, guys, that's what's going on today in the Volkswear garage, and hopefully I'll have some video of Oregon for you here shortly. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.